Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Broku, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball video. Welcome to a new, different, and interesting what if. What if Goku was real? What if he existed in our real, modern world? How would that affect the political climate? How would that affect the physical psyche of our civilians of our planet? And would that be good or bad for us as a whole? Now, this video is going to be very analytical, trying to guess what might happen and what people might think. Now, I have come up with multiple different things of what could happen, and the first thing is peace, or lack of wars. So, Goku would be a singular nuclear missile, or a super nuclear missile, that would be unstoppable. Not only would Goku be fast enough to essentially stop any country from nuking anybody by flying to that country and then disabling the nuke, or just grabbing it and throwing it into space, but also he could tank the nuclear blast, or could produce a much better, more directed blast on said country or state or area if he so choose with a ki blast. So nations might just want peace overall, because if they don't want peace, Goku, if he sees them as being bad, could easily go through and get that nation in check, or that group or company or corporation in check, and they'd be defenseless because nobody on this planet could stop Goku. Not even if you sent every single nuke that ever existed and launched them at Goku, that wouldn't work. He'd be way too strong. As you know, he is a multi-planetary, multi-solar system, and potentially as a Super Saiyan 3 in Dragon Ball Z, a multi-galaxy level fighter. And I'm only really using up to the Boot Saga Goku. I mean, the Battle of the Gods version really doesn't need to be brought up. But not only could peace happen because nations are just too scared of Goku, but this could lead Japan to actually being the #1 superpower of the world, where they are actually #1 economically because everyone wants to trade with Japan to please Goku, and they would be #1 militarily because they would have the #1 weapon in the world. It's like if they had a superhero on their side. That's exactly what would happen if they had Goku. Nobody would want to fight them, nobody would want to fight their allies, and again, that leads to the whole peace thing. It's hard to have wars when you have a weapon of this magnitude. And I do need to reiterate is that ever since nuclear weapons have come into existence after they were used on Japan in World War II, they actually have been a decent deterrent from wars. If it weren't for nuclear weapons, World War III would have happened between the United States and the Soviet Union, but the reason why it never did happen is because both sides had a bunch of nukes, and if the war started, they would have nuked each other to oblivion. So nuclear weapons have actually prevented wars and saved many lives, despite also having the huge ability to take out a bunch of lives. Now, one thing that I thought would be really interesting and is actually probably quite likely is if Goku is on Earth and is a real thing, that could lead to alien involvement on our planet on a large scale for the first time. Now, if we had Goku who would essentially be a weapon who could destroy in one blast a planet, a solar system, and potentially a galaxy or several galaxies, I mean, wouldn't an alien race look upon that as potentially a threat or something they wanted to get into cahoots with and work with? I don't know, but that could definitely happen. I mean, if aliens are monitoring our planet to see how fast we're advancing, and all of a sudden there's this guy named Goku who can destroy a galaxy in a single ki blast, then I think they'd be keeping tabs on that and would want to do something. In fact, if they were smart and really monitored everything, they could just screw Earth over by destroying it, by blowing it up, and then Goku would die as he would not be able to breathe oxygen. But who knows what would happen with the whole aliens. But also, one thing that could happen that could be extremely scary is that of an authoritarian dictatorship. That would be somewhat similar to in the Injustice League video games where Superman would become the dictator of Earth. Well, similar with Goku. Now, I don't think Goku would be the one actually being the leader of this, but he would be the threat of this. Japan would threaten Goku on anybody, and Goku could just be oblivious to this entire thing, to the countries being subject to each other and people being subjected to the Japanese empire, with Goku as the threat. If Goku's oblivious and they give him a lot of food and they don't really tell him anything, they just hide things from him, I could see that happening totally. Although Goku hates messing with innocent people, if he is so oblivious and stupid, he might not see it, and he might not see this authoritarian dictatorship reigning across Japan, all of Asia, the world. We don't know how it would happen, but honestly, if it's Goku, it would be likely an authoritarian dictatorship ruling all of the world, just because of how powerful Goku's power is on a massive scale. Goku would be nothing like a nuke. He'd be the new version of a weapon, and honestly, this would lead to many other nations trying to develop their own superhuman or super person weapon. People would be testing on other people, trying to figure out how to make a version of Goku, their own version of Goku, which would lead into the next arms race or next Cold War or nuclear war, which would be a superhuman or super person battle against Goku to try and kill him, which would bring balance back to the Earth and take a lot of power away from Japan. Now, also though, if Goku does get wind of Japan trying to use him as an excuse to be a dictatorship, if he really does get wind of that, he probably would shut that shit down. He'd probably go through, stamp out the Japanese empire or Japanese government, and have new people take its place that don't want this dictatorship, or put in maybe even his own friends and family. Let's just assume if there is some of his friends and family from the Dragon Ball universe in this, maybe Gohan becomes the leader of Japan, or Bulma, or probably not Chi-Chi, that'd be weird, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. Like I said, could be peace like never before seen, because everyone is so scared of Goku, they don't want to accidentally tick him or Japan off, which will lead to that country's utter erasure if they did try to go to war with Goku. And then this would make Japan the #1 superpower in the world by far, bar none. It would not even be close. It would not even be a contest. If you wanted to even have the United States and Russia and China, they all became one country together, they still would be nowhere near a superpower to that of Japan, just because of Goku. And then again, also, I really do think if Goku existed on this scale of showing his power off, and if he actually went and showed off some of his powers by destroying like maybe a galaxy that didn't have any beings living inside of it, that could really tick off some aliens or attract some aliens to try and come in and either kill Goku so that Goku would not be a threat to the aliens' own species, or come in and try and get him to be on their side. As Goku, he's an alien himself. If he joined these aliens, I mean, the aliens would be the superpower of their solar system or of their galaxy or of their universe if they came from a different universe. So alien involvement is something I would highly expect if Goku actually did show off his powers, showed off his super speed, something that I would definitely expect to see. And finally, it would be an authoritarian dictatorship that would rule the world, or at least all of Japan, with an iron fist, because of the threat of Goku raining down on anybody if they're out of line and not following the rules, which is something that would be very scary. I mean, imagine if you were trying to escape from these corrupt police officers and then Goku comes down and stops you. Now, of course, I do not see Goku being bad, but if Goku is gullible and the Japanese government or whatever government or the world government tells Goku that these people were fleeing because they're criminals, Goku might be gullible enough to believe it and rain down hell on them. But then again, Goku might be smart enough and probably would end up being smart enough to realize that this wasn't okay, this wasn't right, and this reign over people, over innocent people, of taking away their freedom would need to end, would need to cease, and that's what could happen. So these are just a few things of what could happen if Goku was real. Please do leave a like if you enjoyed, guys. Comment down below, let me know what you think. What would you do if Goku was real? How would you react? And how do you think the world would react if Goku was real? Now, one thing I didn't talk about, briefly discuss, is I honestly think that some people would think that he is a god, or he is Jesus Christ, people, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people thought he was Jesus Christ just because of his super strength, his super speed, that he can fly, and that if people could think he's just the next coming of Christ. But honestly, a lot of cultures would probably just think he's a god. I mean, I bet the Norse culture, if anybody practiced, would think that he was maybe an Aesir. I mean, all these different tribes and nations might think that this is one of their gods, but I mean, that really wouldn't affect a lot, I don't think. But then again, also, that might really put people's worldview into check if they saw this man flying around at multiple times the speed of light. Hope you guys all have an amazing day. Don't forget to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Peace out.